you hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it?
Yeah, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
So check it out.
Breathe easy. With the holidays just over and lots of fun spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't favorable, TDC Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, Sinkers and Nevis, and welcome to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for joining the program for today. We are live on our social media platforms. You can check us out on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. The phone lines will be open and we'll be taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. All right, good morning, guys, and thank you so much for joining the program for today. This is Voices for Friday, February 24th, 2023, and just like that, we are at the end of the month. Oh, how time is going really, really fast. Of course, I want to hear from you, the listeners of WINNFM 98.9, your views and opinions on matters of national interest here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Your thoughts. You can call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. And of course, you can follow us on our social media platforms where you can leave a comment and I will do my best to get to those comments. What is on your mind for today? What is on your mind? The phone lines are open and we'll be taking your calls. I want to bring to you, we'll open the discussion today with an article that I did yesterday based off of a comment made by the Prime Minister during a sitting of the National Assembly this week. I think it was on Wednesday. Yes, so on Wednesday, the Prime Minister, who is responsible for finance, he disclosed that some millions, I think he said more than $20 million, are reportedly missing from the coffers of the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. And he said that they basically did a research. Let me pull up the quote just to be on the safe side. So he said, what took place at the Development Bank is enough to make a big man cry. We have stabilized the Development Bank and the bank is now solid. Lots of work to be done, but it is solid. But what has been uncovered is over $20 million can't be accounted for in cash. He said, how does one explain this? He said, after prudent research, the bank had not been subjected to audits since 2018. So I reached out to an official from the office of the Prime Minister who they confirmed that a forensic audit was done and promised to provide the details of that audit. We understand that an audit had been done in the bank, a forensic audit. However, we are yet to see the what does that audit say. So we've been hearing that an audit has been done, but we have not seen that audit. That audit would confirm the exact amount that is being alleged. If it's 20 million or more. I see other comments suggesting that it perhaps could be more. But we are waiting on the audit, for the audit to say exactly how much and if there anything else that the public should know coming out of this revelation that was made by the Prime Minister during Parliament on Wednesday. Now, prior to the Prime Minister's announcement on Wednesday, I did see some talk on social media suggesting that that may be so. But when the Prime Minister spoke on Wednesday, he basically confirmed that what we now need is for the audit. It is one thing to say that monies are missing, but the public needs to see or the public deserves to see the forensic audit report, the audit report that we are told had been carried out on the bank. And that audit, I think, would say exactly how much, and perhaps will reveal other findings or anything else that the public should be aware of. The phone lines are open, and we want to hear from you, your thoughts and views, your opinion on this matter, or anything else of national importance here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That is 466-0989 or 662-0989. It is 16 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour, and you're tuned in to Voices on WINNFM 98.9 for Friday, February 24, 2023. Let's take a short break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation for today.
Found the sound 98.9.
Hello?
Gurjeen,
What's up, girl? Talk to me.
you know I'm working hard on being even more active, right? So we're going to the TDC Home and Building Depot to get a blender, weights, a yoga mat, and a bike for Clive too.
You serious? Something keeping there?
Yes, girl, all month long. Shop in store, get 20% in savings on health and wellness products like blenders, juicers, air fryers, waist trainers, and more.
Girl, Betty, you're joking.
I don't have time for jokes. Get yourself sorted because in February we're staying active with TDC HBD.
Yes, girl.
Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
You hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it.
Yeah, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
So check it out.
Welcome back to Voices right here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. We have a first call for this morning. Let's head to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Devon.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
Oh, man, bless as usual.
Awesome.
Couldn't want a better God, a better day, a better country.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah, man, they ain't got no place like home, you know. Not a man could deport me. Not a man can chase me down in St. Thomas or New York. Not a man could tell me don't walk there. I mean, if I walk in any road, I'm blocking traffic. It's a different story. Anyway, good morning to all the listeners at home and abroad. It's good to be alive. Good to give thanks, you know. And before I go, let me invite people to go down to the square. You walk by the square area? Oh, no, you would have come down also.
No, I didn't go by there. What's happening there?
The students of the Cotton Thomas School, with the special children, they'll be celebrating the African heritage, of course, with activities, singing, I suppose acting, maybe even dancing. So, you know, it should have started at 10 o'clock. So I'm inviting people while you're in town, passing the square. If you hear Rihanna come, you'd have been down there. the one who went to prison and come back and get 10,000 up in music festival. With the Banton? Well, you wouldn't be able to stand up in the square for people. So there are people too, and they have talent, you know. Never underestimate somebody. Say, oh, well, they're blind. Well, in case somebody don't, I am blind. Totally blind. Blind in sight, but not in vision. I have good vision. Now, I listened to our Prime Minister, God bless him. He liked to throw out enticing statements, you know?
Tell me.
And the one about the $20 million. Well, I am sure he's aware that 99% of us have no idea what $1 million look like, you know? You understand? If you go caught by the ATM line, some of them reach there by 10 o'clock on Thursday night. They say 10 o'clock the money goes into the account. So 20 million sound like a lot of money. Some of the ministers got more than 20 million, eh? They call nobody name. Some president or some pastor. And they got more than 20 man where they live. Even they look simple, they put in the money to good use. So let me get to the 20 million. Now we said that their accounts were not audited from 2018. So I assume that they were audited for last year. For them to be able to know that so much was missing.
Hello. Medication.
My son come here, he knows. Where is son now? Come on.
Everything is.
All right.
I can give you $50, please.
Anyway, let me continue. So that was my son. My one and only son. My one and only, and God bless him. You hear me there still?
All right, caller, go ahead.
Yeah, he come to bring the medication for me. Yeah, he took me to the eye clinic yesterday. I'm giving him props, you know. A blessing who I have, my sons and my two daughters. Anyway, I assume, because he said they did search and so. And he said cash. Now let me get to that statement. He didn't say credit, cash. Which meant that somebody or bodies walked into the development bank where they think is on Nevis and was given cash. Now checks cash.
Right, that's what he said. Said cash.
Now let me come to an assumption. Could be right or could be wrong. According to what was said, the people on the peace program were paid to the development bank. You following what I'm saying?
I'm following you. Yes, go ahead.
It was also said that $20 million was spent on the program. You heard that part, did you, right? Now what I'm saying, you don't have to go down the road. Don't you get the money? You go back. All right. You don't have to. They don't have to go look for nobody. The money came over the counter by the cashier. So they should know who passed it, who received it. Isn't that so?
Well, who authorized for that amount of money to be disbursed from the bank, if that's the case?
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, they said the money comes from the treasury, you know. So the money comes from the government coffers to the bank and is dispersed there. So he don't have to go look for nobody. He should have come and tell us, well, we searched, we found. I mean, all of us have common sense, you know. You have to go do further thing for what? This is what I'm talking about? You have to come better than that. So the next time, and tell myself, please, to answer your questions. You hear me?
Tell him who what?
Tell the Prime Minister, please, to answer your question about the CBI.
Well,
You keep going and answering and he keep evading it.
Well, I'll say this much, Carla. I've been asking that question for quite some time.
That's what I'm saying, and he deliberately ignoring you.
And none of the prime ministers have answered the question. Dr.
That's
Joe
what I'm saying.
and Dr. Timothy Harris. They refused to
But
answer.
I hope they got the message.
But I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. Oh, he's sending you. If he can't give you, who else will? Well, ask Dr. Douglas then. I mean, serious. Every time you ask the question, you must go down to the thing. Where have you gone?
I've been calling. I've called that
No,
office.
stop call. Where the office is?
I don't know where the office is.
That's it. Lord, please find out today.
Okay, I'll go in.
Please, he said go. He didn't say call them. You all like to misunderstand people. You know. The man said go today.
Okay, I'll go.
Because
I'll go.
And just I was sent here by I'm telling you, because I used to do a lot of interviews.
I'll go.
I was sent here by the Prime Minister, so you have the Prime Minister's consent to give me the information. You have to say all of that, you know.
All right, Carla. Well, thank you for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls right here on WINN-FM 98.9. This is Voices for Friday, February 24, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We are taking your calls. It is 11:30 here in the studios at WINN-FM 98.9. This is Voices. Remember, we break at 12 for the headline news. And when we come back, we, of course, will continue the conversation right up until 1:30. So that is one of the major talking points right now in St. Kitts and Nevis. A statement made by Prime Minister Dr. Joe in Parliament on Wednesday relating to some $20 million that is reportedly missing from the development bank. We understand that an audit was done on the bank, and that audit, I assume, would provide the necessary information or confirm the actual amount and you know exactly what took place, who authorized all of this. But I think that is the question that is on the table. So it is being said that more than 20 million is unaccounted for. How did that money come out of the bank? Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. The caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
All right.
Just a thought, an observation that passed my mind. Almost every time that the government changes their accusations of missing money, if we can step back a bit to 2015 and slightly after that, there was accusations of large sums of money missing from the SIDF. I believe it was something to the tune of almost $1 billion. Large sums compared to 20 billion, which is now came to be missing from the development bank. Mm-hmm. And if you can remember, Ernest Young came in to do an audit, and I don't think, not that they didn't find anything, but they couldn't. The books, my understanding was that the books were not in order enough for them to do a proper forensic audit of the accounts of the SIDF. Not only that, but I think some American FinCENs or something of the sort came in and seized a number of accounts of personnel close to the former Prime Minister. I'm talking from 2015. I mean, Prime Minister prior to 2015. And we have not heard of what was the outcome of these seizures of these financial accounts in different banks in St. Kitts and Nevis. But we did hear that some of the accounts that were seized had in large sums of millions of dollars that the persons could not have earned during a working lifetime. So, but unfortunately, nothing becomes of it.
Do you
and
think
it doesn't happen in St. Kitts alone. Most countries
Right.
hear the same thing happening.
that is true? Do you think it's a case of where it's a scare tactic by administrations when governments change, they come and say all of these things took place, and then a few months after you hear nothing about these investigations?
It almost comes across like that. Because I'm having, as I say, I know the case of Ernest and Young. I don't know who were the investigators looking into the development bank. There were no names called. But it does kind of try to put people off balance, and give us something to talk about. Because without that, there would have been no topic. This would not have been a topic on Voices this morning. But anyhow, have a good day, man. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too, and enjoy the rest of your day and weekend as well. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. It's Friday, February 24, 2023. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. We're taking your calls. So I'm not saying that is the case here, but it's almost a trend, especially in Caribbean politics. Governments change. You hear of a number of investigations being launched, allegations being thrown around. That this took place, that took place. You hear about the investigations being these investigations are happening, and then after a while, they take a walk in the wilderness, and you never hear about them again. Not suggesting that this is the case, but I'm just stating that this has long been the trend. This has long been the trend. Governments change here in the Caribbean, even here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You hear about investigations, you hear about monies that are reportedly missing from institutions within the government, and then you hear about nothing. So I hope that's not the case here. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. A caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Just a quickie. Sorry to disturb you again so quickly.
That's it.
But just to confirm the trend. Look at it. In 1995, maybe you're too young to even remember this, but in 1995, after the PAM government lost power, the new Labour administration came in under Denzel Douglas. There was a commission of inquiry that went on for months, and what became of that? Absolutely nothing. Thank you.
All right, caller. Thank you for your contribution to this program. So, that's a fair argument. A fair argument, and that's a fair question to ask. Will we see anything coming out of these investigations that have been going on for quite some time? That is a very important question. I mean, there is one investigation that... okay, let me stick up in quickly and I'll take this caller. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you?
I'm all right. I hope you had a pleasant night's rest.
Yes, I actually went to bed very early last night.
We need to. We really need to.
Yes.
Sleep is very important, okay?
It is.
Yes. Let me say this. This thing is really leaving a lot of confusion in my mind, right? Because sometimes I wonder, what is it that we as citizens really want? Because sometimes, the citizens cry out and say, okay, we want this, we want this, we want this, we want this, because we're tired of the same old, right? But then when we call for what we want, sometimes the interjection, but it doesn't only happen here. It happens in other countries. It happens in other Caribbean islands. I mean, to me, we are defeating the purpose, really. Because when we're going to say, well, okay, it don't only happen here, it happens in other Caribbean islands, it happens in other countries. So what we are actually, well, okay, what is actually done is that people are admitting, quote unquote, that this is normal behavior, or they are normalizing this type of behavior. So when speeches are made like that, small wonder we don't see any positive results. We don't see the change that we are really asking for. And even if it happens elsewhere, I mean, they should not be our yardstick, because it's not a yardstick on to progress. It's not a yardstick for change. So we psychologically, we're just putting ourselves down, so we just become sounding brasses and tinkling cymbals, just talking because we can talk. If it happens elsewhere, all right, fine, but we don't want it for us. We do not want it for us. This is what we want. Let everybody else decide what they want. We shouldn't look at them and say, well, oh, it happens elsewhere. Because the thing about it is we don't really know how much they're really doing to effect change where they are that we are not aware of, you know. We don't know that. Because sometimes when we think that it's happening elsewhere, it's not so. Because I have heard news report where persons are held, put in prison, held, and, you know, and sometimes they don't even have the evidence, because just the other day in one of these Caribbean islands, I don't even remember the name, a minister of government was held. And I think, did they put him in prison? Something along the line. And you know what they said? He was held on the assumption of human trafficking. They hold him without the evidence, so to speak, I assume. But every time down here, oh, we don't have the evidence, and you have to have the evidence. So why speak? We look at the development bank. We hear about all of this thing that is missing. All of this money. So you want to tell me people talking about, oh, nothing can be done unless they have the evidence. Really? Somebody was in charge. So you want to tell me somebody is not going to be held to give an answer? The fact that 20-something plus million is missing, we are told that the evidence is there that this was missing. Somebody has to be held accountable.
Right.
Somebody has to be held accountable. Don't come tell me that there is no evidence. Somebody has to be held accountable. In accounting, they have something that is called incomplete records. So you use what is known, you backtrack to fill in the gaps of the unknown. I don't know what we're speaking down here. I don't know how we just speak down here. Because we speak in the one breath, and on the other side of our mouth, we defeat everything that we are saying. No, it cannot be the same old, because in the end, when they start to put on taxes, all like me so, who earn benefit, me have to pay to my teeth. So what they expect me to do eventually? Go and prostitute to get money to pay for these increases? A worse burden is going to be a welfare thing. I don't want to depend on nobody. When I am qualified for this service or this benefit, I do not apply for anything. I go and I make it happen for me. And it is unfair. When a lot of these monies are missing, we are just told about it. Nothing is done. And in the end, I am being pressured to pay back this money. And all of those who gone with the money, they're gone scotch-free. Smiling in the sunlight, enjoying their life if they have a conscience. This cannot be right. It's just the other day on a program I heard the Prime Minister say that, and I'm going to explain it in my own words, that they are now told that they have to increase government revenue. How are they going to increase it? So more sales of the citizenship, whatever that is? Are they going to increase existing taxes? Are they going to bring in new taxes at some point? Are they going to remove subsidies? Why do you think this is happening? Because of all of that money that was taken before. So all like a me now gonna have to feel the pressure to pay back this money. And them who are in a position, they are not calling to ask a question. They're not told, well, listen, whether or not this was under your purview, it was under your watch, and however the money was lost, you're going to have to bring it back and you have to pay for it. Nothing is going to be done, and I have to pay for all of that. That can't be right. My dear hostess, our host, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too, caller, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices right here on WINN-FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are on the topic of the announcement made by the Prime Minister in Parliament on Wednesday that $20 million is reportedly missing from the Development Bank. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good day, Devon.
Yes, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. We have to ask ourselves, right? How does $20 million disappear from a bank? I mean, $20 million is not $20, you know, tin of sardines. And yes, there have been dead-end investigations in the past, but I think what is different this time is that things like integrity in public life, anti-corruption, freedom of information, those things are not just buzzwords any longer, but there seems to be more urgency and seriousness this time in making sure that there's legislation and consequences that that deals with these kinds of things. Okay? And, I mean, while I was very disappointed with Premier Brantley's presentation on these bills on Wednesday, because it sounds as if he was insisting that nothing will change. And he gave all kinds of silly scenarios. In the end, it just appears that he was defending corruption. Okay? You know, saying things like you know, what is a minor and a major gift? I mean, common sense would tell you those things. Right? And defending things like nepotism and cronyism and what sounded like influence peddling in the House. I thought it was really atrocious. And I shudder to think what would have happened if the results of the federal election, the last one that we held, were different. For neither Dr. Harris, nor Premier Brantley, or Sean Richards, who was noticeably absent during that particular session, none of them seemed that, well, all of them were in contention for the leadership after the last, going into the last election anyway. But none of them seemed inclined or willing to entertain anything to do with good governance and integrity in public life and so on, apart from just cosmetic things. Right? And Premier Brantley's presentation actually verified what I just said. Okay? Because like I said, he gave the impression that nothing will change. Right? One thing I agreed with him with, though, he basically was saying that if we really want to do something about this, we have to prosecute people. I totally agree with him with that. All right? And so maybe this is the time to make an example of someone. Because like I said before, $20 million is not $20. Okay? And you can't have, if a forensic audit was done, which means that professionals were involved in this, unbiased people were involved in this, and they came up with that, then somebody has to be held accountable. And if they can't find somebody lower down, the buck stops at the top. It's as simple as that. Right? So we are waiting to see what is going to happen after these laws are passed, and a lot would involve implementation and the application of these laws, because if they're just like in the past, they're on the books and with no teeth, essentially, or they are not used properly to really stamp out or at least curtail corruption, what's the point? You know, we would just be going around in circles. It would be pointless. I mean, I made some recommendations to the legal department on what should be included in these bills, right? Because they did solicit suggestions from the public and from particular organizations, I think, like the judiciary and maybe the chamber and so on. But I don't think that any of the, or very few of the suggestions that I made were actually taken on board. Be that as it may, right? At least we have something. And I hope that this time around, the laws will be applied and we have, it would appear, something to start with, right? There's that declaration of $20 million missing, and trust me, if nobody is held accountable for that, nobody in the public is going to take these things seriously anymore, right? You just laugh at them. And so we are waiting to see the results of, well, first of all, the bills have to be passed. Were they actually passed? Did they go through the third reading?
Yes, according to, I was just reading something on SKNIS, and they confirmed that the bills were actually passed, yes.
So they're passed, yes. So it's just to be gazetted and then applied.
Correct.
Okay, well, let's see what happens. And it's not a matter of let's see what happens 5 years down the road. You know, you don't want to come just before an election and then use these bills as any kind of hammer for campaign or anything like that. What we want is some kind of justice right now. Okay? So I would expect that, they move fast with the appointment of the special prosecutor or whoever. I didn't think that was one of the things I didn't like, the fact that, and I think other members expressed similar sentiments, that the existing, the DPP, right, there are existing entities that if they were working properly, they could apply this. They didn't have to have a special prosecutor for anything, right? The problem is these things weren't working properly, and some of them seemed like they were subject to governmental or ministerial interference, right? Or timidity on the part of some agencies like the Integrity Commission and those organs, the Auditor General and those people, right? Because really and truly, for a forensic auditor to discover that kind of missing money, that should have been picked up somewhere before, I would have thought. That's a lot of money. And so what it showed was a failure of existing systems which really should not have been. And the special prosecutor essentially makes us have to spend more public money for them to undertake a role, right? When in fact, I think there were existing organs that could have done a similar thing. But let's hope that goes through speedily and it don't take forever and a day, because That has been one of the problems all the time. Everybody keeps saying, oh, these things take time. And, and time for them seems to be forever. Right? So let's see how fast they get to work on this, because that is what's going to determine if the public has confidence in these new systems that are being suggested, being put in place. Okay, then.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices right here on Win FM 98.9. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right up until 12 noon, where we break for the headline news.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
You hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it.
Yeah, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
So check it out.
With the holidays just over, and lots of fun spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't favorable, TDC Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices for Friday, February 24th, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll be taking some more calls, all right? The caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Oh, Lord, good morning. I know you're not that. I know you're not that ugly. But if you're ugly, your voice will carry you through, eh?
No, I don't think I'm ugly.
Well, so you got two good strikes. Anyway, get good character. I used to tell my children, beauty is as beauty does. I go for men too, Beauty is as beauty does. Now, to the dismay of many, the truth is hurtful. Whatever accusations are made by any side, it is done for political capital. It has a value, You go back to 1995 when they had this big commission of inquiry live on the radio and everything. All kind of charges, some trump up, some real. And everybody walk off. But it had political capital. Because they were able at the next election to get all 8. You understand? Now Dr. Drew's administration is in a tricky place. They have one seat majority. Tell me which leaders are suicidal to subject any member of his cabinet or party to an investigation like that, especially if it is true. Do you think he would do that? And well, not him, any leader.
Well,
If he had 8, he could lose 1 and stay in. But if you only have 6 and 5 over there, and you are to put yours up, it's what in Jamaica, the Prime Minister is really guilty, if you listen to what they is accused of. But if you take down the Prime Minister, you take down the party. Because people now argue, well, why wasn't he thing and this one recommend and why all kind of things. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I'm following you.
And your wholeness.
Yes, yeah, I'm following you.
Taken to the Commission of Inquiry about he granting somebody a contract that was outside of the Procurement Act. And everybody know he gives it. But the truth is, you cannot, if you take down the Prime Minister for that, you're taking down the whole party. And in the Labour Party's position now, they only have a one-seat majority, a one. And if they were to take down anybody, I'm talking about the elected persons, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you could always nominate somebody in the person seat. Mm-hmm. So don't be frustrated. And sometimes when when they do the investigation and they find out it is who, justice is dispensed on the less fortunate. If you're cousin to the DPP or cousin to the AG or cousin to the Prime Minister, you think he can chop his family? So, where has that ever happened? Where? Not even big America. Everybody knows Trump, put the people to go down there and mash up the place. But the conservatives, no. If you go and try Trump, you try the Conservative Party. So sometimes we don't want to face reality. And again, let me say this thing. Sometimes, as I said, our criticism is painted by how we perceive people. What Mr. Brantley said in terms of the small gifts, there should be a definition valuing maybe no more than 500. Is what I'm talking about? He asked a relevant question, you know. Because a lot of them, when they go, they do get gifts. They do get gifts. As you said, it is a culture of some people to give you. It's way to say, oh, I can't take it because my country law does not admit it. They're not going to do it. So when I hear about this watch and these shoes, they have people who got more than watch and shoes, you know. One said he was given a BMW and calling nobody name when it was queried. So, but how do you define it? And who will judge the judge? Because right now that's the case, eh? Who can judge the judge? So don't be discouraged. It has never happened. Oh, let me tell you this one about the stem cell. Now Dr. Drew is in a position to let us know what he intends to do. Hopefully the cards were left because in 2015 people clean out the whole cabinet, gone with all the government records, gone with whatever paper they felt might incriminate them. So there was nothing, and as I said, nobody can put themselves in a jeopardy place. So it's good to know they're on the books, eh? It's good to know Mr. Brantley was talking the practical. You see, when the one for number one, the news was put up, and they started to say, oh, you get the money, as wasn't there much defense, eh? Answer me. What did integrity Nevis say? But we don't try that kind of case carried saying it, so.
Oh, yeah. They were saying it has to be tried federally.
I'm telling you. And Mr. Brand is not on the federal parliament. So when we thinking, when they ask us, you have that one, yes, we got this one, yes, we got that one, yes. You know? Some of us will get so excited. If you live in St. Kitts long enough, you live in the Caribbean, if you listen to Andrew Holness' case, you could see, they didn't say he didn't do it, but they're saying what it was, either the intention or something. Mm-hmm. And all kind of excuse, you know? I bet you it was somebody from the opposition, you'd hear a different ball game. So all of the integrity and the private integrity and so, quite foul. But the question is, when it comes to political parties, they all protect their own or they use it as capital gain. So next election, you're going to hear how 20 million went out of And the stem cell, well, don't tell me you have people here who have the result. They're not the result. They're not the result of anything. We have a new police commissioner now. So he could tell you, and he could do the bidding of the Prime Minister. He could do anything. So don't be dismayed. It's nice to know we have them, right? One of these days, we might get some politicians who are really interested in integrity in public life. Serious. One of these days, not right now. Right now, is everybody went guardian poor, except maybe one. 5 years has passed,
All right, Carter.
So if a man imagine poor Miss Nisbet, Bible Nisbet, the girl and him get a chance to do her accumulation. You know what I mean? All right, then.
All right, Carter, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices right here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll take a break for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation only on 98.9. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back. Take care.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission, and NHC.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less. Worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
The Taiwan Technical Mission, in collaboration with the Department of Environment, continues to seek the partnership of the public in this recycling initiative. Collect and bring your plastic bottles, metal and aluminum cans at any of our collection points in St. Kitts and Nevis. In St. Kitts, visit us at Buckley's across the road from Best Buy supermarket, in Dieppe Bay on the lawn westward of the football playing field, and in the vicinity of Connery Roundabout. In Nevis, the collection points are Old Artisan Village, Big Six, Delta Petroleum, and X-Petrol. Do visit our Facebook and Instagram pages called Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis and Department of Environment, St. Kitts, for more information on the collection schedule for these recycling points. In St. Kitts, you can call the Department of Environment at 466-8535, and for Nevis, call Nevis Solid Waste Management at 869-469-1762. Let's recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis as we work towards establishing a more friendly place.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Making the headlines.
Mr. James Sutton assumes role of Commissioner of Police in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force.
CARICOM countries join international community in vote on UN non-binding resolution to end conflict in Ukraine. Internationally, the United Nations tells Russia to leave Ukraine and is expected to vote on a resolution calling for peace in Ukraine. Meanwhile, ex-film mogul Harvey Weinstein begged for leniency at a Los Angeles court moments before he was given an additional 16 years in prison for rape. Now, the details.
The installation ceremony for the new Commissioner of Police for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force brought to an end speculations of who would be the head of the main national security body in the country. Mr. James Sutton was selected to lead the police force from a batch of more than 8 individuals, including interested civilians who were engaged in an interview process on Monday, February 6, at the Agriculture Conference Room at Government Headquarters. At the installation ceremony, the Commissioner of Police said that 5 to 20 years ago, he didn't imagine that he would ascend to the office of the Commissioner. However, now that he has risen to leadership, he intends to focus on key areas that are critical in propelling the country's national security system forward.
Under my leadership, it is my intention to focus on 7 priority areas for my strategic direction. These are as follows. 1. Enhance crime prevention initiatives. 2. Community policing. 3. Road safety. 4. Human resource development. 5. Better use of technology. 6. Ongoing collaboration with other agencies. And 7. Evidence-based policing. As Commissioner, I will not be daunted and I will not be intimidated. I will stand by with my officers I lead. I will seek to develop a sense of calm and peace for the citizens. This will be by no means an easy task, but I am prepared to work alongside my fellow officers to achieve positive change. I wholeheartedly accept this Herculean challenge and will diligently and consciously work to restore and maintain law and order, decency and pride to our beloved St. Kitts and Nevis.
Mr. Sutton acknowledged the contributions of the previous commissioners of police and their high commands and pledged to build upon their efforts in keeping the community safe. The Commissioner of Police, however, said the cooperation and the support of the community is critical to national security.
The police force cannot do the job of crime prevention by themselves. Partnerships must be forged with the communities whom we serve. We are here to serve the public, and I am optimistic, despite our current challenges, that we will succeed in renewing policing by consent. Statistics consistently indicate a downward trend in violent crimes such as homicides and shootings. You can be rest assured that the police will continue to play a huge role in ensuring that this standard is maintained by adopting evidence-based tactics and hotspot policing. Strategically and intelligently, deploying officers in these areas can have a significant impact on preventing and reducing violent crimes.
The Commissioner of Police admonished officers to execute their duties without fear or favor, whilst also treating individuals with respect.
To my fellow officers, I am seeking your fullest commitment and support in the execution of your duty, doing so without fear or favor to ensure that law and order is maintained in our effort to make our communities safe havens. In the performance of our duty, we shall hold true to our pledge to respect and protect human dignity and maintain and uphold the human rights of all persons. We are a part of an organization that touches and changes lives. As we interact with persons from all lifestyles in the execution of our duties. Therefore, that human side of us must be seen and felt always. The police force will continue to implement strategies to ensure that our communities continue to be a safe place to live, work, do business, and visit. It is not an I or a me thing, it is a we thing. Together, we can effect positive change and outcomes.
The installation ceremony for Commissioner of Police Mr. James Sutton was held on Thursday evening, February 23, 2023 at the Warner Park Football Stadium. Superintendent Lyndon David was the commanding officer, whilst Inspector Carl Griot was the aide-de-camp or personal assistant to the Commissioner of Police. On the parade were 3 platoons that were accompanied by the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force Band. In attendance at the ceremony were Governor General Her Excellency Dame Marcella Liburd, Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence True, and members of the Cabinet of Ministers in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis.
In regional news, CARICOM countries join international community in vote on UN non-binding resolution to end conflict in Ukraine. That story and more from Carib Update.
All CARICOM countries except Dominica and Grenada, whose representatives were not present, voted Thursday for a non-binding UN resolution that calls for Russia to end hostilities in Ukraine and demanding the withdrawal of its forces. The resolution, drafted by Ukraine in consultation with its allies, passed 141 to 7 with 32 abstentions. Foreign ministers and diplomats from more than 75 countries addressed the assembly during the 2 days of debate, with many urging support for the resolution that upholds Ukraine's territorial integrity. A Russian-born man who was a Grenadian diplomat was this week denied entry into the island. Multiple sources have confirmed to Carib Update News. Oleg Fer was reportedly told by immigration officials in St. George on arrival that he was not welcomed and was put on the next flight out, according to immigration and government sources. The man, who also has a Miami address, was appointed an envoy to Russia for Grenada under the former Keith Mitchell administration. He had borne the title of Grenada's Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Russian Federation. There has been no official statement on the development in St. George's. The Grenada government says it has told the Barbados-based Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, it is not in favor of the procurement rule, which requires international bidding for a project to be implemented on the island. Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation Minister Andy Williams said that St. George's has made it clear that it wants its carpenters, joiners, and other craftspeople to benefit from such contracts. According to the CDB procurement rules, the objective of international competitive bidding is to provide all eligible prospective bidders with timely and adequate notification of the requirements of a recipient of CDB financing and an equal opportunity to bid for the required goods, works, and services. Williams did not provide in-depth information about the specific CDB project, but on the Government of Grenada procurement website, there was a notice in the last quarter of 2022 inviting bids to supply school furniture for the Ministry of Education under the Grenada Education Enhancement Project. Digicel has asked investors possessing US $925 million worth of its bonds to forego payments for at least 30 days to help the company avoid a default as its earnings continue to be affected by political unrest in Haiti and its cash flow remains unsustainable compared to the level of its debts. The bonds in question are due to be repaid on March 1. A Digicel Group spokesperson confirmed that more than 70% of bondholders have signaled they will agree to the 30-day grace period. The proposed grace period is, however, expected to provide the company with additional flexibility to facilitate restructuring. This would be the third debt restructuring undertaken by Digicel since early 2019. Digicel operates in 25 markets across the Caribbean and Central America.
We now bring you these international reports.
This non-binding resolution was based on a fundamental principle of the UN Charter. It is against international law for one member state to invade another. Ukraine and the EU wanted as many member states as possible to vote in favor of their draft, and knew from recent history that anything more strongly worded would lose support. And the strategy paid off, with 141 of the 193 members of the UN General Assembly voting in favor, 7 voting against, and 32 abstaining.
The message is clear. It doesn't matter what Russia tries and how it attempts to undermine international order and the coalition in support of Ukraine's territorial integrity, it fails.
These 141 countries reiterated a clear demand to Russia: withdraw. Withdraw immediately, completely, and unconditionally from Ukraine's internationally recognized territory.
As expected, several key non-aligned countries abstained, including China, South Africa, and India. They argued that a resolution that sought to contribute to a lasting peace in the region should focus on achieving a ceasefire, immediate peace talks, and addressing the geopolitical concerns that led to the conflict in the first place.
Boosting or even enlarging military blocs will only undermine regional security and drive peace further away. The final settlement of the Ukraine crisis hinges on abandoning the Cold War mentality and giving direction to and respecting the reasonable security concerns of all countries.
While we take note of the stated objectives of today's resolution, given its inherent limitations in reaching our desired goal of securing lasting peace, we are constrained to abstain.
And even though several non-aligned countries like Nigeria and Indonesia did vote for the resolution, they registered their reservations, criticizing it for not promoting peace talks and conflict resolution. Ukraine, the EU and the US can once again say that a majority of nations at the UN General Assembly has voted against the Russian invasion, even if finding unity on more punitive actions against Moscow has proved more elusive. Shia Bertansi, Al Jazeera, the United Nations.
Ukraine will learn which countries are backing its struggle against Russia when the United Nations votes later today on a special resolution about the conflict. The motion calls for Russia to withdraw from all Ukrainian territory and for hostilities to end. Major powers like India and South Africa have abstained on similar votes previously, while Russia's allies oppose it. Well, our reporter in Kiev, Victoria Zhuhan, told me how people in Ukraine are feeling on the eve of the anniversary of the start of the war.
These days we feel grief and painful memories of people who realized that 1 year ago their lives have changed forever. There are also fears that these days Russia may attack even more than it did before. And what does it mean to people? Well, schools across the whole country were recommended to keep children at home, to teach online these days, because there may be intensified bombardments. And just imagine being a parent receiving a warning that you have to keep your child at home because Russia may want to kill them these days.
Yeah, we've actually done a bit of a portrait of life in Ukraine a day or two before the actual invasion and how normal things were for so many people. But for you, Victoria, as a Ukrainian, in the lead up to that war and straight after that war began, just give us a sense of the conversations you were having with your family, with your friends, and when you think back to the last year, some of your reflections.
Well, the most recent days before the Russian invasions were filled with considerations in every family. What should we do? And is this really going to happen? So people were thinking, should they withdraw cash or should they not? Should they fill their tank with fuel, or maybe they are just being panicking? Should they flee already or should they wait for something worse to come? And 1 year on, everyone is trying to reflect whether they did the right thing, whether they have a future that they wanted to have. And honestly, many people fear, has the worst yet come? Or is it just ahead of them?
Yes, and I suppose the conversations you're also having, many people would be talking about how this war comes to an end.
Well, look, it might sound surprising again to the outside observer who knows how much suffering has been happening here, but sociological polls suggest that Ukrainians believe even more in the Ukrainian victory than 1 year ago. Because one of the recent polls that I was checking says that 95% of people in Ukraine believe that Ukraine will win. And other polls suggest that up to 90%, sometimes 85, sometimes 87, say that Ukrainians believe that it's worth keep on going the fight despite all the losses that it brings, as long as Ukraine is the one who wins this war.
Our reporter in Kiev, Victoria Zhuhan there. Now, Volodymyr Kadongi, former acting foreign minister of Ukraine and former Ukrainian ambassador to the UN, spoke to me earlier and said the vote was unlikely to yield any surprises.
I don't think there will be any surprises. I think that those countries that voted previously for the same kind of resolutions will also vote this time. But I hope that there could be few more countries. We want to expand our support in the United Nations, and that's something that we have to do. I think that the text of this particular resolution allows some more countries to join those who vote in favor.
Yeah, I mean, but are you expecting countries like India, for example, to either abstain? They're unlikely to vote against it.
No, I don't expect India to vote in favor. Well, if India abstains, okay, let it be so. But I don't believe India will support this resolution at this particular time.
And of course, China has made its position very clear over the last 24, 48, frankly, over the last year.
Yes, China, well, we will be more than happy if China support this resolution. But of course, we understand, and to be realistic, we see China inclined more towards support of Russia at this juncture.
Do you think China is playing some kind of double game? Because on the one hand, China talks about peace proposals. Wang Yi was in Moscow just yesterday saying that there needs to be more discussion around peace. And then on the other hand, the Americans are saying that they have intelligence that China would like to offer lethal support to the Russians.
Of course, we expect, the declared speech by President Xi about his vision of the global affairs, including the war in Ukraine, which is about to be aired shortly. And there we'll see its position. As far as whether or not China plays a double game, I don't know. China probably is trying to distance itself equally from both sides. But like I said, my impression is it's more inclined towards Russia. And of course, China has its own strategic interest in the Asian area. And of course, when we talk about position of China to any of the conflicts, we're thinking about Taiwan, which is always on the back of China's mind.
Yes, I mean, you're a former UN ambassador. You're also a former acting foreign minister. How tricky is this level of diplomacy, especially at a time of conflict, where certain countries want to just basically sit on the fence and not have to be forced to make a decision on these things?
We cannot get rid of the diplomacy. And of course, diplomacy is playing an important role. But I think today the most important diplomacy is taking place at the battlefields in Ukraine. And the main negotiator is the armed forces of Ukraine. That's why it depends on how we will be strong. And then afterwards, we will see some diplomatic efforts to sort of formalize the gains that we will be having.
Indeed, because it really has been the gains and the resistance of the Ukrainian forces and the Ukrainian nation over the last 12 months, which has really turned the tables here. If you think about February and those first few weeks, every military analyst, every diplomat I was speaking to was saying at the time that it is inevitable that Kiev and Ukraine will fall because a small country like Ukraine cannot stand up to the might of Russian forces.
Yes, indeed. We heard those predictions, but they've never materialized. Ukraine today is strong enough to deter the attack which is going on in Ukraine, thanks to, among other things, thanks to the support that the West is providing to Ukraine in terms of providing its military equipment and weaponry. And we hope that this supply will continue in the future, and it will allow us to be not only on the defensive side, but to, go forward and liberate the territories that have been occupied, that were occupied by Russia.
Now, turning to other news, a court in Los Angeles has sentenced Harvey Weinstein to 16 more years in prison for raping and sexually assaulting a woman in 2013. The 70-year-old is already serving a long sentence for a separate conviction. Sofia Betitsa has the story.
He was the legendary film producer at the top of his game, with the world at his feet. But Harvey Weinstein became the first major figure taken down by the Me Too movement and was sent to jail. And on Thursday, another conviction for attacking an actress in a hotel room in Beverly Hills during a film festival in February 2013. In court, the victim recounted her trauma. "Before that night, I was a very happy and confident woman," she said. "Everything changed after the defendant brutally assaulted me. There is no prison sentence long enough to undo the damage."
You may say, well, isn't it too late he was sentenced today? It's never too late to argue or to assert a constitutional right that we think has been violated. And it has an impact on thousands of victims in the future. If they are brave enough to testify before a grand jury, and then for some to testify in a court of law, they should have a right to speak their piece and to say how they have been harmed by the defendant in a case.
Harvey Weinstein is already serving a 23-year prison sentence for a separate conviction in New York for rape and sexual assault. More than 80 people have made rape and misconduct claims about him, dating back to the 1970s. But he maintains that he is innocent and that all of his sexual encounters were consensual. He called his accuser an actress with the ability to turn on her tears. "Please don't sentence me to life in prison," he told the court. "I don't deserve it." Weinstein will be appealing, but he's 70 years old, so this sentence means that life and death in prison are now very likely for this once revered Hollywood star. Sofia Bettiza, BBC News.
You were listening to the WINNFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
Mr. James Sutton assumes role of Commissioner of Police in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force.
CARICOM countries join international community in vote on UN non-binding resolution to end conflict in Ukraine. Internationally, the United Nations tells Russia to leave Ukraine and is expected to vote on a resolution calling for peace in Ukraine. Meanwhile, ex-film mogul Harvey Weinstein begged for leniency at a Los Angeles court moments before he was given an additional 16 years in prison for rape. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission, and NHC.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
The Taiwan Technical Mission, in collaboration with the Department of Environment, continues to seek the partnership of the public in this recycling initiative. Collect and bring your plastic bottles, metal and aluminum cans at any of our collection points in St. Kitts and Nevis. In St. Kitts, visit us at Buckley's across the road from Best Buy supermarket, in Dieppe Bay on the lawn westward of the football playing field, and in the vicinity of Connery Roundabout. In Nevis, the collection points are Old Artisan Village, Big Six, Delta Petroleum, and X-Petrol. Do visit our Facebook and Instagram pages called Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis and Department of Environment, St. Kitts, for more information on the collection schedule for these recycling points. In St. Kitts, you can call the Department of Environment at 466-8535, and for Nevis, call Nevis Solid Waste Management at 869-469-1762. Let's recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis as we work towards establishing a more friendly place.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less, worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
with over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name. A smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organisation on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis is now online, providing simple and convenient services to pay your loan anywhere at any time. It begins with you logging on to our website, www.skndb.com. Click the online payment option, select Request Access, input your personal information, and submit payment. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yes, we've made it easier for you to pay your loan anytime, anywhere. The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, making a sustained positive difference in your life. And guess what? Pay your loan online during the month of February for a chance to win a special prize. So, what are you waiting for? Pay your loan online.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman & Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. The phone lines are open and we are continuing the conversation. You can call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Call us today and be a part of the conversation. For those of you who may have joined it late, we were on the topic of the report, the announcement made by the Prime Minister that $20 million is reportedly missing from the Development Bank. Caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good, Devon. Again. Mrs. Henry's last intervention, I think, underscores the difficulty we have when it comes to integrity in public life. Okay? And because she seems to buy into this all politicians are corrupt mantra. But all politicians are not corrupt. Right? Although I do agree that all can be enticed into corruption by the power and the trappings of office, okay? Which is exactly why we need systems in place to make it more difficult for them to become corrupt, right? And make sure that there are consequences for their non-compliance. That's exactly why we need these things. I mean, why does Mrs. Henry say things like, poor Aquila, she didn't get a chance to accumulate much? Why does she assume that she went into office, into public life, with the intention of doing that? Right? The important thing is that we try to curtail corruption. We don't expect perfection out of the door, right? I mean, our politicians are human too. They'll have their flaws, etc. But we shouldn't make the perfect the enemy of the good. We should at least try to do better than we're doing now. I mean, even a reduction in corruption is better than what obtains now. Otherwise, we might as well just throw our hands up in the air, do what the cynics say. I mean, the cynical people say, you don't understand politics. That's politics. Or say like her, that nobody gonna let their own go down. You know, you're gonna protect your own. Well, if the laws are applied to everyone, I don't think we would face that dilemma, you know, because they would be forced to do things at least the right way, or there will be consequences. It's interesting that in your news, it spoke about the Grenada government objecting to the CDB procurement rules, basically saying if they give you money, then they should allow regional and international people to bid on contracts. Well, first of all, they're giving the money, so they have a right to stipulate whatever conditions they wish. But secondly, there's a bigger picture, I think, that we should look at, in that if you have international bidding, it means that the kinds of international standards, it also means that international people would be able to give the government, the national government, a better bang for their buck. Because you can't tell me that a local firm is going to be outbid by an international firm easily. I just don't see that. Not when it comes to, well, certainly not in this specific case where we're talking about furniture for schools, right? You can't tell me that local craftsmen are going to outbid international ones. And in any case, if that does occur, it means that the international company is providing this furniture probably of a better quality and at a better rate than the local. And what do we really want at the end of things? We want our industries to be competitive with world-class standards. Okay, isn't that what we want? We want to make sure that the money that we put out there to acquire these things, to procure these things, is well spent, right? We want more bang for our buck. That's in the fine arts is what it is, right? And you know, it goes back to the age-old argument: how protectionist should we be, right? And I am saying that yes, I know there is an emotional argument to this, that you got to protect your own. You know, we live here, we're born here, so we must give our locals the advantage. But that's fine, okay? But don't tell me, and the same thing applies with things, even things like agriculture, right? Don't tell me that I must pay $100 for something which is of similar quality that I can get for $10 elsewhere. No. That is not how you improve on your $100 fee. Okay? You have to be competitive. Right? I mean, I know that's controversial, but that is how I view it. That is how I view competition. You talk about the Chinese, for instance. If the Chinese can provide same quality goods at a cheaper price, but after all, criticians and divisions like a bargain too. You really expect them to simply go and buy the more expensive product simply because it's from here? And they're not they're not getting bang for their buck. Right? Again, like I said, I know it's controversial, but that is the way that you improve your locals. You know, make sure that they become competitive, not protect them at whatever cost it takes. But like I said, I know it's controversial, but that's how I feel about it. Okay, then.
All right, Carla. Well, thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices right here on WINFM 98.9. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That is 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take some more calls. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
How are you doing today?
Oh, that dilemma with the money missing. That is a recycling issue, a recycling problem. And you know, nothing, the reason people are saying nothing is going to be done is because it's reality. It's a fact. Nothing is going to be done. Because in 2015, when we changed government, that problem was there. It was evident. And nothing was done. Somebody say a labor is a labor, the DNA is the same. So another labor go in, and he took charge of everything, the same way as the previous labor leader did. And all the corruption that happened, he did nothing about it. And don't tell me he's not here alone, because when it comes to the CBI funds, he alone knew about it. He alone knew about it. Nobody had the way with it all to do anything about it. And when somebody had the way with it all, the guts to stand up and do something about it, everybody say, want to blame the one man that did something about it. Instead of looking and seeing that the reason he had to do it, they want to say that he involved, when he had nothing to do with it. And the reason he did what he did was because he saw what was going on, and he was not right. He was corrupt. And he decided he will lay the cards on the table and let the chips fall where they may. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. This is another labor administration in power. The legal man there, Mr. Garth Wilkins, he come in and he had a lot of chat, say he's going to clean up this and he's going to clean up that. And his backyard wasn't clean. And we're going to continue with that. And I'm telling you, if you want to get any change, you have to get somebody willing to do the change. And it's not happening. What they need to do is to start from the beginning, or start from the last labor administration, and they won't do that. Until they start from the last labor administration, talking about the unity government is neither here nor there, just kicking the can down the road, and you're going to get the same result. Don't get me wrong, all of them need to be cleaned up. All of them, somebody needs to be held accountable. Who gonna show the first stone? Why you tell me that? Who gonna make the first step? Not one of them gonna do a thing about it. And it's sad. It's sad. It's all well and good for the labor supporters to call in and say, oh, the last administration this and the last administration that. Well, the labor administration before that, let them start there. Let them start there. And if they could start there, I will be happy. Comb out everybody and hold them accountable. Thank you.
All right, caller, and thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices right here on WINN-FM 98.9. The phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. For those of you who are just joining the conversation for today, callers have been weighing in on the announcement made by the Prime Minister in Parliament on Wednesday that more than $20 million is reportedly missing from the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. We understand that an audit had been conducted on the bank, and we are waiting for that audit report that was said to be done to be released for public scrutiny, for people to take a look at and try to get a better understanding or a better picture of what is being said in this regard in relation to the $20 million reportedly missing from that bank. It is just a few minutes before the 1 o'clock hour here in the studios of WINN-FM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yes, let me say quickly. Good afternoon again. 2015, 3 political leaders came together. They had that power, if they wanted to do the cleanup from what they accused Douglas administration from doing. Okay? They threw that away because now people can see that they were not serious about it. So, for many people, an investigation is to be done. it should start from 2015. What happened under Labour, Douglas Labour? You don't go back there because those got in 2015. They were given a high mandate, high, whatever you want to call it, the support to do the wrongs that they say occurred under the Douglas administration. So if they fail to do whatever, nobody should go back now to Douglas. The investigations should start with these ones here. From 2015, for many people, that's where it should begin. Good day, Mr. Cornelius.
All right, caller, you do and have a fantastic day. It is 1 o'clock here in the studios of Win FM. It is 12:57 in the studios of Win FM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. As I said, people are weighing in on that issue. You know, the whole topic or conversation of investigations happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You know, oftentimes when administrations change, people will say, you know, there needs to be an investigation into reports that, you know, this went missing or that took place or some illegal activity took place there. Now, I am not saying that there should be no investigation whatsoever. I'm not saying that people should be allowed to be corrupt. I'm not saying that people should be allowed to do as they like in the public service and then you just give them a slap on the wrist. Because what we've seen happen is that whenever the small man does something, that person is you know, made an example of. But if it is somebody who, you know, as we would say, has a godfather in the system, then we just, you know, man, you go ahead, you know. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take some more calls. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Greetings. You see, you run around Chin Bar, Lambakale Chin Bar, and the political tit for tat, and you have to be careful with that, yeah? We as a people, as an African people still in these plantation lands here, we have to be careful with those things. Because unity, unison is what we are in dire need of to regain our rightful place within creation again. And these political, Westminster-style political tit for tat, it is not going to help us to get there. It's going to keep us further away from the unison that we are in dire need of as a people. Let us take warning. Let us take warning. We're different to other races, you know. We have a story, you know. We have a taken away human cargo story, you know. We seem to be forgetting this, you know. We shouldn't forget, you know. We have to be careful how we tread as a people under this Westminster-style political system. It's turning us away from the unison goal that we ought to achieve from yesteryears. Take warning, people. These kind of round and round, chin bar, bamba kalele, chin bar is not going to help us in no way. We are here scrabbling over marbles, case benefits, and spoils. We came from a continent that is so rich that the riches, what was taken away, plundered and taken away, it still won't touch what is there awaiting us. We have to be careful how we are flexing. Blessed love.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. It is 1 o'clock here in the studios of 1FM 98.9. We'll take a break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on 1FM 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis is now online, providing simple and convenient services to pay your loan anywhere at any time. It begins with you logging on to our website, www.skndb.com. Click the online payment option, select Request Access, input your personal information, and submit payment. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yes, we've made it easier for you to pay your loan anytime, anywhere. The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, making a sustained positive difference in your life. And guess what? Pay your loan online during the month of February for a chance to win a special prize. So, what are you waiting for? Pay your loan online.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. And how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. What about you?
Oh, I am blessed. I am blessed.
Awesome. Good to hear.
I'm just tuning in because I was doing something else. I heard a caller speaking about they should go back to 2015. Is 2015 was the only administration they ever had in this federation? What about 1980 and 1995? What happened to those administrations? Because it's not sounding right. Even though if this government, this administration, want to pass a bill for corruption, they have to look back from the other head of leaders who govern this country to find out where the corruption started. And why is the Attorney General now? Who are he hiding? Are he hiding someone from this administration? Or he hiding from something from us that we do not know? And in Parliament, I listened to it and I was disturbed, plenty of it, because on the opposition side, when you see members on the floor from the government speaking, that doesn't interrupt the person on the floor. But when somebody from the opposition on the floor speaking, them on the government side start to interrupt. That's why the deputy speaker had to let them have it. And I agree with her that when somebody on the floor, do not interrupt them. Let them say what they have to say. And it was very good of she, because I find that the previous speaker, she doesn't stand for principle, because she is from the opposite, the government side.
What's
letting them do as they like, and it should never be.
I'm not really.
You're the speaker, you're supposed to put things in place as a speaker,
Yeah.
and let the house move on.
Yeah, caller, I'm not really. No,
you
hello,
have a-
caller.
Yeah.
I'm not following. You said the previous speaker.
Yeah. Because remember, it was the deputy speaker was on the floor when they were trying to the Timothy Harris was on the floor, and they was trying to cross with the talking.
Oh.
She had to stop them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, caller, do you have anything else you want to share with the public? Okay, that caller has made his point. It is just 7 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. You're listening to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. I want to share something else with you, well, in relation to the conversation that we've been having for today. But it is in relation to the bills that were passed in the National Assembly this week. We know that the Parliament met this week to discuss a number of bills that are related to the government's good governance agenda. It says that, and this article was written by our very own Kevin Brown. It says, after heated and lengthy debates on the anti-corruption bill during the February 23rd sitting of the National Assembly, 3 bills aimed at mitigating corrupt practices on the government level and bolstering the transparency and accountability of public officials, the good governance agenda, were passed. 3 bills passed: the Anti-Corruption Bill 2023, the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Bill 2023, and the Freedom of Information Amendment Bill 2023. The Anti-Corruption Bill was the first bill debated and was highly contentious, with the debate going on for about 6 hours. The bill defines and creates criminal offenses of corrupt conduct and creates an office of a special prosecutor that would receive complaints, investigate, as well as prosecute acts of corrupt conduct of individuals in public life in St. Kitts and Nevis. Premier of Nevis and Parliamentary Representative for Nevis 9, Mark Brantley, said he wishes the government to be cognizant of the legislation being passed and how they affect the nation. And I'm quoting him now. He says, we're passing legislation that has far-reaching implications, and I am sometimes concerned that we're not quite paying attention to the implications because we're concerned about the studies that are being done. I'm not saying these things to suggest that we ought not to have these ideas. I'm saying this to say that we must be careful that we don't end up putting our country into paralysis. We have to be careful that we don't over-promise in terms of some of what we're seeking to do. The Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, in support of the bill, reiterated that corruption is detrimental to human society's growth, advancement, and development. The second bill debated, which is the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Bill, amended several sections of the Integrity in Public Life Act, which outlined a code of conduct and declarations of interest for public officials. It created offenses of abuse of office, misconduct, and neglect of duty, and established the Integrity Commission, the Integrity in Public Life Commission. The political commentators have criticized the Integrity in Public Life Act as not being operationalized. The just passed amendments are expected to give the Act the necessary powers to address the issues, with high-level public officials given strict deadlines on filings, hard copy and electronic submissions, new definitions for child and spouse under the Act, etc. The deadlines for submissions were in the amendment to Section 5 of the Act, which stipulates that a person who was appointed a public official prior to the 1st of January 2023 shall file an initial declaration on or before the 31st day of July 2023. A person who is appointed as a public official after the 31st day of January in any year shall file an initial declaration within 100 days of becoming a public official. And a public official shall, in each succeeding calendar year, that he or she continues to be a public official, file further declarations on or before the 30th day of April. The parliamentary representative for constituency 10, Eric Evelyn, raised concerns about electronic filings, explicitly referencing the recent hacking of the Nevis Island administration's systems and the information held under ransom for millions of US dollars. The last of the three bills, the Freedom of Information Amendment Bill 2023, amends several sections of the Freedom of Information Act, number 6 of 2018, making clearer definitions of terms and language within the Act, which provides maximum disclosure of information in the public interest and guarantees the right of everyone to access information. The three bills now passed and will be gazetted into law are expected to work in tandem, holding public officials accountable. Those were the three bills that were passed during a sitting of the National Assembly this week between Wednesday and Thursday. You're listening to Voices for Friday, February 24th, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Devon. The boy here.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. And you?
Awesome, good. I'm fantastic. I'm happy to be alive.
Okay. Wait. You know me comments to you, around this time. Anyway, you know what born yet? For 1963, when one of the U.S. presidents was shot. And from 1963 till now, they're still doing investigation about the case, okay? And let me come here to think it now. Before 2015, what happened? We ain't had no government in the country, running the country. Everything was free. Because I disagree with a caller who said they should not go back to the farmer labor. They should start from 2015, come forward. You can't do that, you know. You have to go way back and straighten out things, come up to now. Because before 2015, the farmer administration that were running the country, when the sugar industry was closed, the leader said that the government get $48 million to pay the sugar workers them. And $28 million was paid out to the workers them. And it is alleged that $16 million left back, and that was sent overseas with somebody in a suitcase. That we only hear about that because of the administration after that. Well, up to now, we don't know what happened to that. And then now this administration the 2015 administration before this one you were in now, they accused, this one, accused the one before the 2015 administration of what they're talking about, corruption and money from bank, development bank. Well, I can tell you something here. For what happened now in this administration, and one of the MP who went in Parliament should have never been in there, because he had a lot of chat saying he gonna name and shame people, and he ain't afraid to bang his chest because they're shaking in the boots now for corruption when he house and he yard full of corruption. So you see what's going down? When, as you say, when a government change and the other one come in, is a load of accusation. But then, where the result? We don't see any result. And for those who are talking about integrity in public life, integrity ain't only have to be in a public figure's life. Everyone should have integrity in their daily life. Because if I if I got 3 jobs, and I only doing one, but I collecting the pay from the tree, Do I have any integrity? Then when you have a good day here, thank you very much.
All right, Colin, thank you, as usual, for your contribution to Voices. You're listening to Voices, WINNFM 98.9. Just a few minutes left before it's 17 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. Want to hear from you, your thoughts, your views and opinions on matters of national interest here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Be sure to tune in to WINNFM 98.9 tomorrow for another edition of Conversations with Our Kids at 10 a.m. and, of course, at 11 a.m., another edition of Inside the News. We'll be discussing the recently concluded budget address there on Nevis. The bill was passed, I think, yesterday, and the budget allocated for the 2023 fiscal year is set at $261 million, somewhere in that region. So we will be discussing that tomorrow, right here on WINNFM 98.9 from 11 a.m. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls. If we have no callers at this time, we'll take a break to acknowledge the sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation for today. Let's take this break and I'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9 WIN FM.
Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers are making lawn and garden easy. Come to Horseroads Building and Nevis Center now and get 25% off store-wide on our entire lawn and garden department. Yes! For the months of February and March, Horseroads Building Center and Nevis Center is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off all garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horseroads Building Center in St. Kitts and Nevis. Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers, making home improvement easy.
The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis is now online, providing simple and convenient services to pay your loan anywhere at any time. It begins with you logging on to our website, www.skndb.com. Click the online payment option, select Request Access, input your personal information, and submit payment. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yes, we've made it easier for you to pay your loan anytime, anywhere. The Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, making a sustained positive difference in your life. And guess what? Pay your loan online during the month of February for a chance to win a special prize. So, what are you waiting for? Pay your loan online.
Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Host. I just call in this afternoon really to congratulate our new Commissioner of Police, Mr. James Sutton, who are being elevated to be Commissioner. I am happy that one of our local who came through the ranks could attain such height. I too can say I will work close with him in crime, and I know he is very knowledgeable. Pray God blessing would be upon him and his protection, that God would grant him wisdom, good health to lead, especially in a time like this. I ask the rank and file of the police force to support him. Support him. Because we are living in a time in which the chain must be strong. There should be no weakling if we are to really improve in maintaining law and order and arresting criminal activities in our beloved federation. I ask us to all pray for our new commissioner, for guidance, and pray generally for our police force. I would like this time to wish my good friend, former Commissioner Hilroy Brandy, a most enjoyable retirement, peaceful, and a healthy retirement. I think he have done well under these trying circumstances for the past 7 or whatever years he served. He did well. And so I wish him good retirement, good quality time in his retirement with his family, travel and relax and enjoy what is left of his life. And so, Mr. Host, I must thank you for facilitating me, but this is Black history, and I think I was around when they had an inquiry. This is just for the young people knowledge, information, because I've been hearing people saying, go back. But there was an inquiry, I think, 1980 administration led by Sir Kennedy, up to 95. There was an inquiry. This is just for the information. I'm not going to get into our politics. And like one your caller said, I am calling for the unity of our people. United. This division must not allow to continue. Division is of the devil. Let me put away party politics. Pray for our leaders. Pray for our country. And let us get along. Thank you very much.
And thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. This is Voices on WINFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for the contribution to the program. We'll be taking some more calls right up until the 1:30 end time. And so you can call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That is 466-0989 or 662-0989. Thank you for mentioning that, caller, with regards to the new Commissioner of Police, which was officially, sworn in yesterday. So we have a new Commissioner of Police in the person of Mr. James Sutton. There was an official ceremony on Thursday at the Warner Park Football Stadium. Let me just pull up the Give me 1 second. So there was an official ceremony yesterday, Thursday, for Mr. James Sutton, who was installed as the new commissioner of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. The ceremony was held at the Warnock Park Cricket Stadium. It began at 5:30. 5 o'clock, sorry. Mr. Sutton replaces Mr. Hilroy Brandy, who served as Commissioner of Police from 2017. The occasion was witnessed by Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Marcella Limbird, who inspected the Guard of Honor, cabinet members led by Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Terence Drew, the top brass of the police, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, other rank and file of the police force, family members, and well-wishers. Congratulations to you, Mr. Sutton, and best wishes on your new journey. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. A caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Kanye, coming back. I'd like to know, right, under the Douglas administration, there was something called PEP, right? An office near PEP. Could you remember that?
Yeah, they had a program called PEP, yeah.
And who was the one responsible of, who was the manager of PEP at that time?
I don't know. I can't recall.
Okay, you can recall. It wasn't the present vice deputy prime minister.
I don't know.
Okay, he was the person in charge of PEP, the deputy prime minister, Mr. Hanley, and plenty of things used to go on in that office till we heard that money used to be traveling all over to Miami to a family member or whatever. I only asking a question because if they're going to speak about the past administration, they have to look back at what happened under Dr. Kennedy Simmons' administration and under Dr. Douglas' administration. Because plenty of things used to happen on the same PEP program, and plenty of people is trying to keep them out closed or shut and not hear it. It needs to be heard and let people know what used to go on and who was the person in charge of PEP to what it is at this present moment. You have a good afternoon.
All right, you too, caller, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It is 1:30 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. Let me use this opportunity to say thank you for your contribution, your calls, the comments. Thank you so much for participating in the discussion for today. Be sure to join us on Conversations with Our Kids tomorrow morning at 10. And then at 11 a.m., we'll have Inside the News. We will be discussing the budget debate or the budget address delivered in the Nevis Island Assembly. All of this happening tomorrow right here on WINNFM 98.9. Stay tuned, of course, at 6 p.m. this evening. At 6 this evening, we will have our newscast. Take care.
WINN is 98.